Oh, I watched that last night.
Dude, that was a showing. Did they not?
I can't wait till next week now. Call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors? Yes. Mr. Cockrell? Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item will be the moment of silence by the Board Vice President, Mr. Jerry Ditton.
As we begin this meeting, let us pause for a 60-second moment of silence to reflect, meditate, pray, or engage in other silent activity. Thank you.
Next item will be the Pledge of Allegiance, led by our Board Clerk, Ms. Brandy Roulette.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item will be the approval of the board minutes from October 11th. Any discussion?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette? Yes. Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item, number 5, Mr. Dykes.
Good evening, Board, Madam Superintendent. Normally I come to you and I present how much extra money you have in your accounts because of the energy program and what we saved. Tonight I'm coming to you with an actual check. This check came from the summer peak performer events that our electric provider hosts over the summer on days over 100 degrees. If it's over 100 degrees, they ask that we use less energy. Last year we had 0 events. They just had a test event. We received a check for $48,000. This year we had 7 events, several of which took place during the beginning of school, so that kind of hindered some of our reduction of energy. We didn't want to disrupt class at all or office work, but it still resulted in a check for a little over $78,000 this year. So definitely a nice increase. And what's even better is over the last year, Synergistic, the company I work for, and Broken Arrow has renegotiated the terms of the contract. Normally, Synergistic takes a small portion of this. This year, all of it goes to Broken Arrow. So Synergistic takes nothing. It all goes directly to the school.
Outstanding.
That's cool.
I'd like to present, if anyone would like to take a picture with a surfboard size
Go
check.
ahead. You guys going up there. Go ahead. Go ahead. You and Dr. Vincent, go ahead.
That's awesome.
No, we're not getting into it. Randy and I were worn out for our rest. In Florida.
Thank you.
Mr. Dykes, we want to thank you for all your hard work, and you and Synergistics, and we know we have realized the savings of the partnership over the years, and we sure appreciate that, and especially looking out for students and staff when it is 100 and how we can still conserve costs. So that's important. So thank you.
It took everyone involved, maintenance, custodial staff, and even office staff that turned off lamps, turned up thermostats while they were here. Everyone involved in saving this extra money. So
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Next item, comments from the public. We have none.
Whoops. Nope,
What?
you jumped number 6.
Oh, I apologize. My fault. Ms. Peterson, I didn't try to skip you on purpose.
Oh, that's
I apologize.
Quite all right. I thought I got excited and just jumped up here. So good evening, President Allen, Dr. Vincent, and members of the board. I'm coming to you tonight to seek approval for the position of assistant principal that will be split between Leisure Park and Wolf Creek. We are recommending Miss Lorraine Mock. Miss Mock actually began her career in August of 1999 in Coweta Public Schools as a special education teacher. She then transitioned into a counseling position where she served 18 years as a counselor. So she was an LD teacher for 5 years and then a special education teacher for, a counselor for 18 years. She this year decided to make Broken Arrow her work home. Broken Arrow is her physical home. Both of her kids have gone through Broken Arrow Public Schools since kindergarten, and so they are members of our community, and so she was hoping to make the transition. She was actually hired on as a counselor at Vandiver this year, and I remember when she was doing her stand and deliver for NSU, I was actually one of the people that was on the board for her stand and deliver when she was trying to graduate to get her principal certification. So we are really excited to make the recommendation for Miss Lorraine Mock.
Okay, any questions?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Ms. Peterson, is she here this evening?
She is here this
All
evening
right.
with her family.
My son Teddy, my husband Ted, and my daughter Tegan. And we are, obviously, we're already fans of Broken Arrow, but we're super excited to have this opportunity to serve the community.
Congratulations, Ms. Mock. And welcome home. Okay. Okay, now comments from the public. We have none. Next item, Mr. Leach, construction update.
Good evening, President Allen, members of the board, Dr. Vincent. So I've been here for a month and a half, and if you would allow me to begin by thanking all of you and the many others who helped make my employment with the district come to fruition. Everyone I've met has been very warm and genuine and welcoming, and I very much enjoy the atmosphere here and appreciate the leadership that Mr. Shackelford brings to the operations team. So I'm here tonight to provide you with a short update on the construction services project. I've included a related maintenance project as well. A couple of these projects were completed immediately prior to my arrival, and a couple others I've had my hands full in getting the vendors to complete their work and get the contracts closed out. Some of the completed construction projects will include the work at the baseball fields and softball fields, the Vanguard Academy, the addition and renovation at Oliver Middle School, and the work at the Air Force JROTC area. Currently under construction is the former Westwood Elementary, the renovations project there for track and the Tigets. And under development will be the Student Event Center, which we'll see some slides on in a little bit, the 8th grade center, and a little bit of work at Options Academy. Some images of the baseball and softball entry plaza, the Vanguard Academy. This interior shot this is called the Hive. It's more of a dining area, but also with the wooden steps you see is a collaborative area where students can congregate and eat and discuss projects that they're working on. This is one of the pods. This is actually a coding and digital media lab, picture on the upper left. It's the welding shop, also known as the manufacturing lab. Came over from the high school campus over to this building. The VOAG barns, the Oliver Middle School addition and renovation. This is the media center, one of the shots inside of the media center. They're actually having a class in there, so I didn't take too many pictures in there. This is the new main entry. This has provided a secure entry where you actually have to go and be buzzed in before you can get into the school at all. The JROTC, this used to be the welding shop, and this is actually a maintenance project where they went and cleaned up the entire area, provided a new coat of paint, got everything looking really nice. And the area where all the uniforms are stored, all of the clothing racks were actually made by our in-house carpenter team. Westwood renovations, doesn't look like much. This is metal stud framing. This is in the track locker rooms where they've already begun drywall and drywall finishing. This is in the Tyget's dance studio. And now we come to the event center. This is the main entryway. This is actually on the south elevation of the building. The view from County Line Road. Student entry in the varsity club balcony. The varsity club in the balcony will actually center on the football field. So you can walk out on the balcony and look straight down the middle of the football field. The main entry lobby with directional lighting. The new varsity club. The arena shown in a wrestling configuration. There could be a lot of configurations to the arena, including wrestling or volleyball, or even shown in a presentation configuration. So that's where we are so far. The architects have just completed the design development documents, which we're currently reviewing and approving. And we're moving quickly into construction documents. Those will take several months to complete, and we'll be ready to go out to bid probably late spring. That's all I have for you tonight. Thank you for your support.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of good things happening. I know we're seeing some of these things close out. And I mean, and especially one that, I mean, just resonates well with me is just seeing the ag building. What a remarkable place. I mean, what a transformation. The people that are going to get to use that from here forward compared to, you know, back when Mr. Allen was in school. You know,
Yeah.
that was a long time ago. But
Are they using that now?
Yes, sir. Everything is currently being used. There's pigs in the pig barn. There's sheep and goats in the goat barns.
So what about the old one? They still got pigs and cows out there because I live right next to it. I thought they were all leaving.
I imagine pretty soon they will be.
Okay.
I know
I
the
didn't-
area for the cattle is just about ready. We have to provide some water out there for a trough, but everything out there is ready.
what a deal. I mean, even the events are, I mean, this is incredible. So great news for Broken Arrow and just some wonderful things and great welcome to the family. So
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Leach, I do have a question on,
Yes, sir.
on Westwood. It seems to be, has been a little bit of a interesting project. And I think there were some issues. How's that going, I guess, basically? Are we staying on time frame?
It's on schedule. Yeah, the contractor's on schedule and remains confident that they will complete the project right about Christmas.
Good, okay. Well, we appreciate all your hard work. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, next item will be consent. Is there any discussion or items to address with consent prior to?
Mr. Allen, I would like to, in regards to the consent agenda items, there's a few things that I was just wanting to call out that, you know, to me, I think it's just remarkable work that's taking place in our district. And plus the giving and just the care that, you know, so many organizations play within the student's life cycle here. And so, honestly, looking at item number 19, the Highland Park Elementary School PTA, you know, that is such a remarkable donation. I mean, almost $6,300 that's going into getting equipment for the playground and stuff. I mean, that's absolutely wonderful. And so I just personally wanted to say thank you to the Highland Park Elementary School PTA group, because that really is something that's incredible. So thank you for all those that gave to this. The next item that I was wanting to call out that just, you know, is pretty incredible to me is that spring dental, item number 21. You know, not everybody likes going to the dentist, but, you know, it's a necessity. And it's one of those things that, you know, not everybody can afford to get those exams and things like that. So to me, again, this is just another representation of, you know, great things that occur here in BA and just some of the businesses that support us day in and day out. So again, thank you, Spring Dental. You know, 15,000 free dental exams. That's just amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing. So
It's almost 80% of the student population, so those that may or may not have dental insurance, it can reach them. That's outstanding.
it is. The last thing that I was wanting to call out, and you know, I don't know who all gets involved in this. Ms. James, maybe you can help me with this, but I want to say thank you to you and anybody else that is involved in this development of the Project Pathways stuff. You know, there was several items in there that are, again, giving students just opportunity and things that they can go out and try and do or learn while they're in high school and get these skills, these things that are going to parlay into their next life and stuff like that. So hats off. I mean, honestly, thank you to everyone that was involved with this, because I mean, I love seeing these items in here that, you know, we've got 4 new programs that are coming into the Broken Arrow District. So thank you.
Outstanding. Any other?
That's all I got. Sorry, I was got to wipe the tears away and get an approval here. So no, I'm just kidding. Seriously though, thank you all. So with that, I make the motion to approve.
I second that.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item, Ms. Kearns.
Good evening. There has been a lot of attention in the last few years about what can and cannot be displayed within school settings or spoken about. We get questions a lot, you know, with people with their nerves are a little bit high. So we did have a group of teachers feel that some of those needed to be incorporated into an actual board policy. They didn't feel it was feasible for school employees to know all the laws or know maybe precedents set by court cases. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. So we did, in response, create a new board policy that we're bringing to you tonight, information item only, to allow a month of pondering and questions and any feedback you may want to give into that policy, and I would bring it back in December as an action item.
Ms. Kearns, this is going to be reviewed by our district's legal counsel as well for this policy?
They wrote it.
They wrote it? Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for bringing it up, and appreciate the teachers that actually brought it to our attention as well. I think that's a good contribution.
I do too. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, 59, Mr. Leach.
Everyone's accustomed to construction always costing more, especially in this day and age. But tonight I'm pleased to bring you change order number 1 for the Vanguard Academy, which is a deductive change order which returns $57,402.66 back to the district from Flintco's guaranteed maximum price. So this is coming from unused contingency and unused allowances in the construction contract. And that will be given back in a deductive change order.
Okay.
Hallelujah.
Thank you.
It also actually results in a decrease of the architectural fees as well, because those were based on a percentage of the GMP.
All right.
Any other questions or discussion?
Definitely make a motion to approve.
I will second that.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Leach.
Thank you.
Next item, Ms. James.
Did you get voted?
Yeah, I came up.
I did. I guess I already voted.
Good evening, President Allen, Dr. Vincent, and the board. I want to present to you for discussion and a vote to accept our agreement between us and the Office of Educational Quality and Accountability for our program. It is called Jobs for America Graduates, or JAG of Oklahoma
project. It's really a student mentoring program that assists kids that are at risk and enables to kind of intervene early, keep them on track, get the courses they need in order to graduate. We normally would have brought this to you back in July for your approval, but there was a funding concern. The governor's office had been able to support that in the previous years. They came to a point where they were like, we really can't, so they went to the table with Career Tech, and the state director, Marcy Mack, was able to say, hey, this is important, we're going to begin to fund it. So it's now funded through our Oklahoma Career Tech, Carl Perkins and funding, and their different pieces through Oklahoma. So that's why there's a delay. It's been in place since August. They actually pay for one of our instructors to come in and carry this class throughout the day. So it is at no cost to us. We just open our doors and accept them and provide a classroom space. So I put that before you guys to accept this understanding with them, this MOU.
How many students would be involved in this?
They average around 25 is where they like to keep them at, just because anymore it becomes more difficult to really have that quality interaction. So, but you could have anywhere between 20 to 25 an hour. So we could intervene each year for about 100 students max, quality interventions and mentoring program.
On what grade levels?
10 through 12th grade.
10 through 12?
Mm-hmm.
How many sections is he currently teaching?
He does 4 because it was one of
He's a
our
coach,
coaches
isn't
that
he?
was doing
Yeah, he's a
that, which was a
coach.
nice asset for us, because I know the previous years we were looking for a coach. We needed that coach, but we have a teaching position.
Right.
So this came at a really valuable time for us, that they were paying for that, and then also Coach Davis could come in and coach for us with those other 2
Well,
hours.
he's fantastic.
Oh, yes,
I mean,
very much so.
fantastic. So good with
Yeah.
the kids. I can't say enough about it.
Absolutely.
Really,
And a shout out to
really good.
Coach Dunn. He really selected him and said he would be a good fit when we kind of came to the table as a group saying, hey, we have this position. Who would be a quality mentor for those students? And he mentioned him. So
It's fun to watch the kids. They first go into that class and they're not real thrilled about being in there. And within about 3 weeks, there's no way you can get them out of that class.
Absolutely,
They absolutely
yeah.
love him. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's great
So-
news, so thank you.
mhm.
Any other questions? Discussion?
Make a motion to approve?
Second that.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Thank you,
Thank you.
Ms. James. Next is Ms. Enoff.
Good evening, President Allen, Dr. Vinson, board members. My first item for tonight is to ask the board to approve an increase to our child nutrition budget by $2,821,464.62. Let me just explain a little bit what's going on with child nutrition. So at the beginning of the year, we approved an operating budget that very closely mirrored last year's budget. Well, fast forward to today, and participation has skyrocketed for child nutrition. She is feeding upwards of 2,000 to 2,500 more kids per day. And so with that, our, as you remember, All Kids Eat Free this year under USDA guidelines and the federal government. And so we are getting more and more federal dollars into the district, which is fantastic. So on the flip side of that, we have to expend those dollars to match the revenue that's coming in. And so I'm asking the board to up that ceiling so we can continue to stay ahead of the supply and demand. And Ms. Goodacre is doing a tremendous job also monitoring just what's going on with the overall supply chain crisis that the country is experiencing. And so she really feels like it's prudent to get ahead of ordering some of the commodities and paper goods and other things like that to just stay ahead of that issue.
Ms. Enoff, I would assume that there's no, with the All Kids Eat Free, there's no qualifying standard versus free and reduced, is that right?
Correct.
So do we know the number out of our 19,500 students, maybe what's participating in that daily? I mean, just an estimate?
I
And if you
don't,
don't, that's okay, I just didn't know.
I don't know that off the top of my head.
Ms. Kearns, do you happen to know?
I would hate to say off the top of my head and be completely wrong, but I'm thinking it's in the 8,000-9,000 range.
Okay.
It's up 2,500, not from COVID, from the year before
Right.
COVID, so it may be higher than that. I may be thinking of double. I didn't.
Okay.
So it's close to half the student population is participating in the program.
Is participating, whereas comparatively, I know this number off the top of my head because I asked Ms. Summers this week that
the percentage of students that actually qualify is 36% is what would qualify for free and reduced lunch in the district. So that gives you an idea.
All right, thank you.
And so what I'm asking the board to approve tonight raises our ceiling also with the excise board. And so at the end of the meeting, Ms. Roulette and Mr. Allen will sign that, and then we'll send it to the excise board for approval too, so they understand that we're raising our ceiling for this year in child nutrition to keep up with the revenue and offsetting expenses.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
Any other questions or discussion?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Ms. Eniff?
My last item tonight is to ask the board to approve a one-time transfer between our sinking and general fund. And so let me explain what's going on with general fund. So typically during this time of year in the November, December timeline, cash flow gets very, very tight for us as a district because, as you all know, our big ad valorem payment is received in January when property taxes are due. And so cash flow is really tight this time of year. Well, that problem this year is just highlighted even more because of the spending of our federal ESSER dollars, that those one-time federal dollars that are have been allocated to districts. So in order to get those funds physically back into the district, we have to expend them per the budget guidelines, do a application project, a budget submission, and make a claim through the State Department of Education. Well, with our last approval of a little over $14 million, that application was finally approved in October, but we have yet to receive any actual money back into the district. And so that has really exacerbated our cash flow issue. And so to solve that problem, what I'm asking the board to approve is up to a $6 million transfer between our sinking and general fund, at which point in January, when we receive either our ad valorem dollars or the federal claims, whichever comes first, that money will be put back into sinking fund. We have invested in our own warrants before. A few years ago, we did kind of a similar practice with our building fund due to some timing issues, and just asking to approve up to $6 million in case this is really a plan B if we need it, just to be sure that we are sufficiently able to cover accounts payable and payroll through the end of the year.
Any questions? Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second that.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item's new business. We have none. Item 64.
On this item, we need to table this
Okay.
for the night.
Are you making a motion?
Yes, I'm making a motion that we table this agenda item.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item will be to adjourn.
All right, make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Oh, call the roll, please. Sorry. I was
Mr. Majors?
waiting to sign. some
Yes.
papers.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. I didn't get a vote on that.